Good morning from Yummy Bay TV. Wishing you all well today, sending loads of love to you as usual. Now, before I start this video, it's not for the faint-hearted. There may be some graphic detail in this, and it's a subject you've been asking me to cover for quite some time. And today, now that I feel in the right frame of mind, I will deliver it to the best of my ability. For the first time, I break my silence on my knowledge, my history, and everything I know about the place that they call Category A Monster Mansion, which is HMP Wakefield. What do we know? We know that predominantly it's a 70-80% sexual offenders environment. We also know, or I tell you today, that 20% of non-sexual offenders that are being round all the other Category A prisons and for one reason or another have been dispersed to HMP Wakefield. Maybe for their own protection, maybe being a pest or violent in all the other Category A's, and maybe because they've run out of places to go and the system is saying, go and take some respite in HMP Wakefield, where we will have a look at you, and when your behaviour changes, we can get you back to the so-called normal Category A population. Now, I'm going to take you all the way back to around late 80s, probably before Strange Wave riots, right? On that Wakefield, on one of those Wakefield wings, or a couple of those wings, there was 6 men running about, going in on other prisoners there by way of rape, right? One thing stands out, and it's absolutely fact, this story, is that 6 men went in on one fellow and raped him, and the prison officers found him afterwards, so a couple of hours later, and they messed him up so bad that he had to be taken out in a wheelchair, and I'm hearing probably crippled, right? So that story is absolute fact, right? So we know that on a sexual offenders wing, we know that they're going to get up to no good. The stuff that they do on that sexual offenders wing, such as Wakefield and other Rule 43 wings, right, you could never do or get away with on a normal, non-sexual population in the Category A's. Those ex-villains or villains from way back in the day will have your guts for garters. Now, we know there's always been a selected few, the same names that have been called all the time in the normal Category A's, that have got away with their sexual preferences and that kind of stuff. I say it's because they wasn't raping anyone, and people used to gossip and just talk, but really, you know, never really got really that troubled by the other inmates. So we know it happens on the normal Category A wings, but very, very fleetingly, and probably during my time and staying there by the same names all the time. So what do I know? There was a legendary hitman from Newcastle or the Northeast, around about the late 80s, early 90s. I think he got a life sentence, right? He was working for a major crime family, big name so-called family from Newcastle or the Northeast, right? And he used to come onto normal location and then disappear. These are normal Category A's now. And he used to disappear off normal location, run over, put himself on Rule 43 protection on his own accord so that he could go and do his wicked ways and his sexual preferences and desires on a Rule 43 wing. Fact, he was in Wakefield at that time too, right? So, but they caught him out. One day he came back to normal location after about the 4th and 5th time of probably going back and forth to Wakefield, probably in the other Category A's of Franklin, Long Lartin, Full Sutton, Whitemore, being on normal location, and then just disappear. Where there is protection wings in those normal Category A's of Rule 43, where Belfield and certain people live right up till today, you know. And he probably disappeared, come back, but then he got spotted by someone one day. They said, but why do you keep going over there? And you know, prison staff, they talk to and tell inmates things. So he got caught out in the end, and then in the end, he had to stay on protection. Right, I don't know where he is now. He used to get some strange magazines in and all that kind of stuff. I think many of you lot will know who he is. But the past realities of Wakefield Prison in itself, some men that are real handfuls in the normal category A's. I used to say when they was going to Wakefield from blocks that I was in, or other men that have told me about some of these guys, well-known names, and they have to go on lie downs or respite periods to Wakefield, they used to be shitting themselves about what they had to face there, because that is why they call Wakefield Prison Monster Mansion. I'm telling you, a dark subject, and there will be more coming up on this very soon. So we'll take this as a part one. Sending loads of love to you.